Kyle Mazer here for KMMphoto.com. A friend of mine took this picture and asked how to make it black and white but leave some color in it, specifically the hair and the little necklace here. So she was working in iPhoto, and as far as I know in iPhoto, I looked really quick. I didn't see a way to do it. It was either straight black and white or color. So I'm going to use Aperture and show you guys how to do it inside of Aperture. So I have my image. I'm in full screen mode. To do that, of course, you hit the F key. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push H to get my heads-up display, my HUD over here. So in this case, the first thing I want to do is I want to convert it to black and white. So I'm going to go to my presets, just like I showed you in the last video, and I'm going to look at my filters. So I'm just going to look real quick. They get really kind of creepy around the blue. It's kind of weird. And what I'm going to do is, in this case, I'm going to go with the orange filter. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down in my heads-up display over here, down to here where it says black and white. And I'm going to push this little wheel right here, and my option that I'm going to choose is brush black and white away. You can certainly brush the black and white in. I tend to work better the opposite way, so I'm going to brush it away. So I have this new little window over here. Okay, I have my brush size and my softness and my strength. I generally leave the softness and the strength set to 1, and then I'll adjust my brush size. To adjust my brush size, I use the scroll button, or you can use a scroll wheel or your trackpad. If you use 2 fingers, you can scroll it up and down. In this case, I'm going to actually hit detect edges, because it works pretty well. You can see that I'm really not kind of, oops, that one didn't work out so good. I kind of went a little crazy there. Oops. Let's try that again. There we go. And all I'm doing is painting this in just like it were a paintbrush and any other photo editing program. And you can see I can get to, oops, I missed there, but that's okay. Make this a little bit smaller. Just to kind of get the rough idea of how all this works. If I were doing this as a final, print image, I would be a little bit more careful about doing this. And remember, you can always zoom in if you push the Z key, so you can really get into doing the details of it. The other thing they wanted was the necklace here in color as well. So I've done this once before, and I found that turning off detect edges helped a little bit. So just kind of do this. Oops, I guess I forgot to turn off my sound. And we'll just grab these. And that's that. The next thing I would do, if I were doing this as a final image to print, I would jump up to my contrast, and I would increase my contrast a little bit, probably somewhere around there. Now, for me, I don't like the color of the hair, so I'll show you how to change the color of the hair. So you can come down here, and you have your little color picker here. If you push the eyedropper tool, you're going to go to the color that you want to affect. In this case, we'll do it right about there. And I'm going to change the hue by dragging my slider over just a little bit. And increase my luminance, because I know the hair is supposed to be pink. So that's a little too much. Let's grab the color picker one more time. Let's do that. So just to kind of give you an idea, as I sit here and play and not talk to you guys, the hue actually changes the color. So if you can see as I drag it there, it's changing. Oh, it's not changing. Oh, because I turned the range down. So you can see that as I drag the hue around, you'll see that the color changes. Saturation is exactly that. It's the saturation, how saturated the colors are. Then there's the luminance, which is how bright it is, and then there's the range. The range is kind of cool because you can actually affect only a certain color and not other colors. So I'm going to keep my range kind of on the high side, and for right now I think that's pretty good. Oh, TV, sorry. And yeah, we'll keep it like that. And I'm going to go back up a little bit and look at my contrast one more time, maybe a little bit more. I guess that's good for now. And I think that's about it for the image. One thing I always like to do is I like to play around with the white balance, see how the white balance changes things. You can see that by dragging the white balance up, it really affects the background. So probably leave it somewhere around there. Tint. Ooh, tint is some cool stuff. But I'm going to leave it where it was at 0. So let's just take a real quick look at how it was shot. This was with a Nikon D3000 rather. I'm sorry. Pull up the metadata here. Full EXIF info. So it's a Nikon D3000 with this is a 90mm Tamron macro lens. Obviously we're inside, so we're shooting at 800 ISO, which is pretty good. Our shutter speed was a 60th of a second. I'm sure that's here. There's a shutter speed, 60th of a second at 2.8. The only thing I can really complain about is, and it's not a big deal, if you look at the your focal length here is 90mm. You want to try and get it so that your shutter speed, this number right here, is larger than this number. It'll help eliminate motion blur. We don't have any motion blur in this image, but as a general rule, especially when you get to your longer lenses, you want to try and have the bigger shutter speed number larger than your focal length. And in order to do that with this image, all you'd have to do is raise your ISO a little bit to 1600, and that'll get you to a higher number, so a faster shutter speed. And let's just take a look at the focus point. This is one of the things I really love about aperture. If people are having focus issues, you can actually click here and it will show you. Oh, it didn't do it again. Interesting. I wonder why it's doing that. Interesting. Well, I can tell you where the focus point was by looking at this one. So the focus point was right here, which is actually probably a pretty good spot for it. I might have actually moved the focus point over here. The only problem with that is at that point you have to recompose the image. I think where the head is right now, I think it's in a really good spot, and I'm not a big fan of recomposing your shot after you've locked on with focus. So I think it's a good job. Anyway, any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Kyle Mazer for KMMphoto.com. See you later, guys.